Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not just going to look at spreadsheets. We're going beyond the balance sheet to figure out how a major tech company in Africa is thinking about its corporate purpose. We're breaking down Safaricom's latest annual report. You've heard that phrase a million times, right? Transforming lives. Big companies love to say it, but how often do we really see it backed up with action? Today, we're digging into Safaricom's 2025 report to see exactly how they're trying to turn that mission into a reality. Okay, so check this out. Right from the very top, from the CEO, the message is crystal clear. This whole thing, it's not just about profit margins. They're trying to anchor their entire strategy in this idea of being a force for good. Now, that's a pretty big claim. Let's see how it actually plays out. All right, so how do we unpack all this? Well, we're going to follow the story that Safaricom tells in their report. And it all starts with the powerhouse that makes everything else possible, their commercial engine. Yeah, before we can even get to the transforming lives part, you've got to understand the machine that powers it all. Safaricom's commercial engine is just vast, and its scale, well, that's the real key to their ability to make a social impact. Seriously, you should think of it less like a regular company, and more like this whole digital ecosystem. I mean, from paying for groceries to connecting with family, Safaricom's services are just woven into the fabric of daily life for millions of people. Let's put some numbers to that. They now have 1.8 million merchants using their services. And get this, they brought on over 500,000 of those in just 1 year. This isn't just about convenience. It's about bringing even the smallest street-side vendors into the digital economy. That is a massive leap for financial inclusion. And their reach goes way beyond mobile. They've laid enough fiber optic cable to stretch from Nairobi to London and all the way back. Just picture that for a second. That's a huge investment in the digital backbone of the country, connecting more and more people to the internet. And you know what? That investment is really paying off. Their home internet customer base jumped by over 21% in a single year. That's hundreds of thousands of households getting plugged into high-speed connectivity. Now, this slide right here, this really shows the financial heart of their whole purpose-led mission. M-Pesa's revenue grew by over 15%. And you got to remember, that's not just a number on a spreadsheet. That growth is what directly fuels their social investment programs. Okay, so we've seen the engine. It's powerful. Now let's look at what it's actually building. How does all this commercial success get translated into social value? This is really the core of their Transforming Lives mission. What's really interesting is that Safaricom has a formal way of tracking this. They call it social and relationship capital. It's a framework that basically forces them to look beyond the balance sheet and measure their success by the value they create for all their stakeholders, from employees to the communities they serve. And the scale of that impact is just staggering. Through all their different community initiatives, they directly reached nearly 5 million people in this past year alone. And this really breaks down what that 4.9 million figure actually looks like on the ground. We're talking thousands of telemedicine consultations, scholarships for young people, and direct support for hundreds of thousands of families in need. This is where that Transforming Lives mission becomes really tangible. But of course, this kind of growth and impact doesn't happen in a bubble. And the report is also refreshingly honest about the significant risks they're navigating. You know, I find their approach to risk really insightful. They're not just making some long list of problems. They're thinking strategically about the timing of these threats, from the immediate competition from fintechs to the medium and long-term economic shifts, with the constant shadow of cyber threats looming over everything. And here's the part that really sets them apart. They're not just identifying risks, they're actively responding to them. So for example, when there's economic pressure and people have less to spend, instead of just weathering the storm, they're creating more flexible plans to help their customers navigate those tough times. That's purpose in action. So finally, let's look at how all of this, the commercial engine, the social impact, the risk management, how it all ties into their long-term strategy for the future. Their vision for the future is, well, it's bold. They're not just aiming to be a tech leader. They want to be the standard bearer for purpose-led technology across the entire continent, tying their own success directly to Africa's progress.
And M-Pesa is the absolute key to unlocking that vision. The plan is to transform it from a simple payment tool into a comprehensive, AI-driven super app for all things finance. This move into credit, insurance, and enterprise solutions, well, it's a complete game changer.
So to quickly recap, Safaricom's report tells a really compelling story. It shows a purpose-led strategy where this incredibly powerful commercial engine fuels tangible social impact, all while proactively navigating a complex risk landscape and aiming for an even more ambitious future. Safaricom's story leaves us with a fascinating question for the future, doesn't it? As technologies like AI become more and more integrated into our lives, what does it truly mean to be a purpose-led tech company? As these companies gain more power, how do we ensure that power is used to genuinely transform lives for the better?